What's going on, my friends? Josh Baldwin here from Mad Millennial. In this video, we're going to talk about why in the world for some SNAP recipients, they are actually seeing a decrease in their SNAP or EBT benefits payments, following the most recent 8.7% cost of living adjustment. And we are also going to talk about 3 very important reasons why emergency SNAP benefits should not be cut in 2023. Now, there are several reasons for this, some of which are very important to understand. This information changes on an almost daily basis, and it's my job to keep you informed with the latest updates. So make sure you watch every single video and watch all the way through so you don't miss out on the most current information. With a deadline looming and the holidays just around the corner, federal lawmakers are busy trying to pass legislation to approve federal government funding through September 2023, the end of this fiscal year. The Consolidation Appropriations Act of 2023, also known as the Omnibus Spending Bill, includes funding for the federal government's discretionary spending. One of the big pieces on the table is support for summer meals for children, a small part of programs authorized by larger child nutrition legislation known as the Healthy Hunger-Free Kids Act. This is important because during the summer, children often do not have access to their free or reduced cost lunch at school. Many groups and advocates consider this legislation to be an important step in preventing child hunger in the United States. Currently, expanded benefits that were enacted in response to the COVID-19 public health emergency could be cut at the end of February, regardless of whether a national emergency continues, through the Omnibus bill. Here are 3 very important reasons emergency SNAP benefits should not be cut in 2023. Number 1 is a dramatic cut in SNAP will cause a so-called hunger cliff. This occurs when, from one month to the next, people suddenly lose a significant amount of their benefits and are unable to feed their families. So while we can applaud congressional efforts this week to support child nutrition in the summer, it should not come at the cost of children's and others' nutrition at any other time during the year. Many of us will remember being shocked by media images of miles-long lines at food pantries early in the pandemic, and we're witnessing a repeat of this due to dramatic inflation. Yet, what should be most shocking is the fact that food insecurity is a chronic condition in the United States. Over the past 20 years, between 1 in 6 and 1 in 10 households were reported to be food insecure. The rates are even higher for African Americans and Hispanic communities, at times reaching 1 in 4 households. SNAP is one of the mechanisms through which the federal government supports communities, and it helps millions of U.S. households keep food on the table each month. In the last 2 years, because of the pandemic, the government expanded SNAP benefits multiple times, including the current emergency allotment of at least $95 per household. This, combined with the historic 2021 revision of the Thrifty Food Plan that guides the USDA in setting benefit amounts, means that average monthly per-person SNAP benefits rose from $121 in February 2020 to $224 in September 2022. This is a positive development since SNAP was previously insufficient. Many families reported not being able to afford food at the end of the month. And although this is not nearly enough, programs such as SNAP are particularly important during emergencies such as the COVID-19 pandemic and inflation. The pandemic led to widespread job losses and lower earnings while increasing the burden of healthcare costs. This is why it was so important that the federal government stepped up and provided much-needed relief. Now, these benefits do in fact prove helpful. The most recent food insecurity data from December 2021 actually showed a small decrease in food insecurity during a global emergency. The second reason why it is essential that SNAP benefits keep running into the new year is that SNAP is an important anti-poverty program. It may even prevent intergenerational poverty. Since the start of the pandemic, SNAP served approximately 42 million people each month, allowing them to extend their already stretched food budgets. In a survey of food pantry clients, many reported having to choose between food and other basic needs such as housing and utilities. The data on the impact of the pandemic shows that 39.5% of people nationally have difficulty paying for household expenses, and 22.1% of people were unable to pay for energy in the past year. For these people, having access to adequate benefits to help with food purchases is essential. Having money to purchase food also helps in many other ways, as food insecurity is linked to both higher healthcare costs and worse educational outcomes. In other words, those who are food insecure spend more money on healthcare, and their children have lower earning potential in life, thus feeding intergenerational poverty. The US Census estimated that in 2018, SNAP reduced the poverty rate by 1.1% for adults and 2% for children. This means that SNAP keeps millions of people above the poverty line. And last but certainly not least, we have number 3. SNAP serves both urban and rural communities and helps local economies. A previous analysis by UCS demonstrated that while cities have a high number of people who use SNAP, rural areas tend to have the highest proportion of households for whom SNAP is integral in being able to afford food. Out of the top 150 counties with the highest proportion of population that receive SNAP, 136 of those were identified as rural. The program is also important to populations including working households, households with seniors, and children. Finally, I want to emphasize that SNAP also contributes to local economic development. USDA economists calculated that every dollar the government spends on SNAP produces $1.8 of economic activity. Not only does this help food companies, but families are also able to stretch their budgets for other necessities, thus providing an economic boost that allows small businesses to provide jobs to the community as well. The solution is not to cut SNAP, but expand it, while addressing the root causes of food insecurity. The government should not behave like the national emergency is over. COVID-19 is still very much active in the United States, and coupled with this year's flu season and other respiratory illnesses, it still represents a major cost that may prevent people from being able to afford food. And while inflation has slowed down, when we last checked it was 12% for groceries over the last 12 months, SNAP will not compensate for the inflation experienced this year until October 2023. Cutting emergency SNAP allotments will cause a hunger cliff, leaving many hungry or relying on an already thinly stretched emergency food system. This is already happening in many states that decided not to extend these benefits, but many states have the opportunity to continue them based on the federal guidance. We stand with other advocates in support of continuing the pandemic SNAP allotments. At the same time, let's not forget that food insecurity rates, while fluctuating, have not dropped below 10% in the past 20 years. Food insecurity in the United States is a chronic national emergency, and SNAP is one of the major ways our government can address it. While we advocate for food system transformation through the 2023 Farm Bill, it is essential that adequate SNAP benefits continue to stave off a deeper crisis. Alright, my Mad Money minions, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please leave a like, comment down below any information you might have about your own state's SNAP benefits, and maybe you can help someone else out. And of course, hit that subscribe button and notification bell right next to it. Hitting that bell will make sure you get notified exactly when my videos are coming out and not a week or two later. If you're interested in investing, you can now get your one free stock by clicking the link down in the description. Alright guys, stay safe, stay hustling, stay warm, and I will talk to you guys again soon.